Hey there, this is Peyton here with Profit Daylight, and on this video, I want to talk about default fonts or global fonts with Elementor. So when you're going to build or create a website, you usually want to make sure that the fonts that you are using are matched in pairs, which means that they work together, they look well. And usually you don't want to have a website full of different fonts. So whichever post or page you write, you want to make sure that the header and the description or the part where the text goes, that the text match with each other and they look okay. So let me just explain a little bit what I want to say with this. So on a previous page that I had already installed or add some fonts. If I go to this website, and this version of Elementor is not the latest version, but if I come over to default fonts, it shows that my primary headline is Fira Sans, and it shows that my secondary headline is also Fira Sans, and it shows that my body text is Montserrat, and it also shows that my accent text is Montserrat. So if I come over to another website that I have not installed any fonts, and I come over to settings, site settings, and global fonts, this one does not have any fonts selected. I have not entered any fonts on this website yet. So first of all, what I want to talk about is making sure that the fonts that you select have the correct license. They are under an open license. So let's say, for example, if I come over to fonts.google.com, that's one of the places where you want to go to find the fonts, or at least to make sure that the license is open and that you can use it. If I come over to fonts.google.com and I select the first one, it says Roboto. So if I come over to license, it says these fonts are licensed under the Apache license version 2.0. You can use them freely in your products and projects, print or digital, commercial or otherwise. However, you can't sell the fonts on their own. This isn't legal advice. Please consider consulting a lawyer and see the full license for all details. So if I just go back, let's select another one. Let's scroll down a little bit and let's choose this one here, PD Sans. Let's see what the license says regarding this one. So I come over to the license tab and it says these fonts are licensed under the open font license. You can use them freely in your products and projects, print or digital, commercial or otherwise. However, you can't sell the fonts on their own. So you just want to make sure that the fonts that you are using are Google fonts, unless you want to buy some fonts, that's fine. There are a lot of websites that they buy the fonts, so they pay money for the fonts that they want to use. They have a license to use it, and that's okay. But if you're just getting started, if you want something very simple, which I'm trying to keep this video very simple, just come over to fonts.google.com and make sure that the license implies that it can be used. Let's just look for another one here, Noto Serif. So I come over to Noto Serif and I'm coming over to the license tab, and it says these fonts are licensed under the Apache license version 2.0, the same thing that the first one said. So I did also verify, I did a search on Google. Can I use Google fonts without any problems? So the first option that comes up, the answer is under the developers at google.com. I select the answer and it says, can I use fonts from the Google Fonts catalog or any page? It says yes. The open source fonts in the Google Fonts catalog are published under licenses that allow you to use them on any website, whether it's commercial or personal. Search queries may surface results from external foundries, and so on and so on. So just wanted to bring you here to make sure that the funds that you're using are open source. So next, the other website that we're going to go to find the pairs that work is this one here, fundpair.co, fundpair.co. So by coming over to fundpair.co, it says featured fund peers. So this website has already ensure that all the options that are coming under or that are listed here have been proven that they work well. They look well when you make your posts or pages in Elementor. And actually, even if you're not using Elementor, if you're using another page builder, or if you're just using regular, the regular WordPress site without necessarily using a page builder, these fonts will work for you in Pair. So going down the list here, I have Laura and Merriweather. I have Prosa Libre and Open Sans, and so on. I can just scroll through this page and find pairs of fonts. So let's say, for example, I like your first one and I want to have that one installed on my website. If you see the header is most likely Laura and the text area is Merriweather. It says it's here, heading Laura, body Merriweather. And it changes a little bit here. The header is Prosa Libre and the body is Open Sans. So each one of them has, the text looks a little bit different, the design. So how do I ensure that this one, the one that I have chosen, is a font that I can use based on what Google says? What I will do is I will just copy this or just memorize it, come back over to Google fonts.google.com, and in the top box here, I'm just going to type Laura. So I type Laura and it does give me a result. I come into the result that it gives me and I come over to license, and it says that these fonts are licensed under the open font license. So I'm okay to use it. You can use them freely. So that's why I want to ensure. Let's say this other font, I want to make sure that this one is okay, that it works well in my body, and that it's open source. I come back over to fonts.google.com and I'm going to type that here, Merriweather, and it's telling me that it's open font license and that I'm free to use it on my products and projects. So let's say, for example, you found a font here. I'm just going to invent a font, something that came to my mind. Let's say you found a font here and it's not coming up here in Google Fonts. I'm just going to type New York, for example. New York. Okay, so if I type New York, it says no matches in the open source catalog. You see the difference? No matches in the open source catalog, viewing one family from external foundries. So apparently there is a font that is called New York type. So if I found that font here and I'm not finding it under the Google fonts, that will just, I will just hold back a little bit unless I want to take the risk of using it, or unless I go to this external source and pay money to use it. In other words, I pay the license to use that font. So just plain simple, if you just getting started, I would just suggest that you come over fontpair.co and that you just choose a font pair that you want, and then you install it under WordPress. So let's just go ahead and do that right now. Laura, I'm going to come over to WordPress, and okay, let me just touch here that says settings, or say settings. No, it's not there. Okay, I'm just going to touch the hamburger menu, and under the hamburger menu, site settings, and under site settings, global fonts, and under global fonts, primary, first one, I'm going to, just before I do that, I just wanted to show you something that is coming up here. Under settings, global fonts. So I did not select any fonts, and the message underneath says fallback font family, sans serif. The list of fonts used if the chosen font is not available. So if I do not choose any font, it will just default to sans serif. So I'm going to try to change that here. Let's select primary, and it says Roboto. Let me see if I can change that to, what is the name of the font? I think Laura. I'm going to try to change up to Laura. So first of all, it gives me the default font, and it gives me system font. Most likely the system font is taking the fonts from the theme that I'm using. In this case, I'm using Astra theme on this website. And then if I scroll down a little bit more, then it comes up with Google fonts. So most likely Laura, if I find it here, is going to be under Google fonts. All right, so Laura, I just enter it manually, and I'm just trying to get Laura installed. So family, font family will be Laura. I'm just going to leave everything else. The weight is going to be 600. I'm just going to leave everything just as is. I'm going to select update. Your changes have been updated, back to editor. So let me just ensure that it has been updated. I'm going to come back to the hamburger menu, site settings, and that was global fonts. And the primary font is Laura. So I'm going back a little bit, global fonts, and the secondary says Roboto, whatever there. Okay, so my secondary, just come back here to see global fonts. Okay, let's just choose that the primary and secondary header will be Laura, and then the body will be this one, Merriweather. So I'm just gonna just copy this here, and I'm coming back to my settings. I'm just gonna choose the secondary header to be Laura as well. I'm just gonna type Laura, and I'm just gonna leave the weight just as is, update. Your changes have been updated. Then text, I want my text to be Merriweather. I'm just gonna enter that there. Says it's a Google font, update. And I just want my accent, says it has been updated. I just want my accent text or body text to be Merriweather as well. All right, so I have already changed all four fonts, the primary, secondary, text, and accent. Let me just see if that really did it. I'm just coming back over to the hamburger, and inside site settings, global fonts. So the primary font is Laura, and the secondary font is Laura, and the text font is Merriweather, and the accent font is Merriweather. So that's really all there is to it. That's the way that I will just go about selecting fonts to work in my Elementor projects. And as I said, just make sure that the font that you're using is under the open license, or that you don't have any problem, you don't encounter any problem using it. If you see there is a font that you like, you probably want to purchase that. There are other ways that you can actually select the font that you're using, but this is just a simple way. If you getting started and you just want to change the fonts a little bit, that's the basic way to do it. If you feel that this video has been valuable for you, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I'll greatly appreciate that, and I'll see you on the next time. Thanks for watching my video today, and have a wonderful day.